Berlin moves fast. It is a magnet for global tech talent and international creatives, with an energy that constantly pulls people in from all over the world. If you stick to the center, places like Prenzlauer Berg or Mitte, you will hear a very specific rumor. People will tell you that you can live here for years without ever speaking a single word of German. Learning the local language takes hundreds of hours, so before you open a textbook, you need to calculate the actual return on that investment for your specific move. This diagram maps out the Berlin integration path. The core variable is your time horizon, splitting you into one of two clear routes: short-term survival or long-term residency. Relying entirely on English builds an invisible barrier of dependency. You stay comfortable in the expat bubble, but you remain disconnected from the conversations and decisions that actually shape your neighborhood. You might order a flat white in perfect English in Kreuzberg, but the moment you need to deal with the government, that linguistic safety net completely vanishes. Welcome to the reality of German administration. It is formal, it is complex, and it operates strictly in standard German. Your very first requirement as a new resident is the Anmeldung, registering your address. The forms, the appointment, and the confirmation letters are exclusively in German, and the clerk is under no obligation to switch to English for you. You will start receiving thick, formal letters from your health insurance provider, the tax office, and your landlord. Automated translation apps routinely mangle the complex legal phrasing in these documents, meaning you risk missing critical deadlines. Skipping the language early on trades a few months of easy living for long-term vulnerability. You become entirely dependent on bilingual friends or paid translators for every official move you make. To see exactly what Zero German buys you, we look at the central tourist and expat districts. You can easily navigate international co-working spaces, order vegan food in Mitte, and chat with bartenders who default to English the moment they hear your accent. The breakdown happens in the margins. It fails at the local bakery. It fails when your neighbor leaves a note about the recycling rules in your stairwell. And it fails completely on a Sunday when the transit app sends you an audio-only detour announcement on the train. This comparison matrix tracks how well you function at different language levels. If we map a Zero German approach across daily ops, bureaucracy, and community, you score a partial green for daily life, but instant reds for the other two. Notice those red zones. When you require locals to switch languages for every basic interaction, you introduce a persistent friction into their workday. Over time, those exchanges become shorter and strictly transactional, preventing any deeper personal connection from forming. A Zero German strategy means you are functionally living in a hotel. You can exist in the city, but you are not participating in it. Move out of the immediate center and down into the transit system, and standard tourist English quickly drops off. This is where survival mode kicks in. It requires memorizing a handful of highly effective polite phrases, like Entschuldigung to say excuse me, and Stimmt so to leave a tip. Berliners do not expect perfect grammar from newcomers, but they place a high value on effort and directness. Trying to order your coffee in broken German earns real respect. This chart shows how that effort changes your standing. In the survival row, daily ops turns fully green. You can order, pay, and navigate without pausing. Community shifts to yellow because you can at least break the ice. But notice that bureaucracy stays firmly red. If you try to call your internet provider or dispute a tax bill, the person on the other end will not slow down their rapid, formal German for you. Survival German is an incredibly efficient tool for getting through your day, but it will not help you understand the jokes at a local bar or build a deep network. To actually establish roots, you have to understand the Kiez. This is the Berlin word for your highly specific local neighborhood, the few streets where you actually live, shop, and belong. And here is where most people hit a wall. The standard textbook Hochdeutsch you studied online will not fully prepare you for how people actually speak on these streets. You have to adjust to the Berlinerisch dialect. The G sound often softens to a J, turning gut into jut. The word for ich becomes ick. This dialect comes packaged with the Berlinerisch Schnauze. It is an intensely direct, highly efficient way of communicating that strips away all padding and pleasantries. Many expats interpret a server's blunt, one-word arrival at their table as rudeness, yet matching that same directness is actually how you earn respect in a Berlin establishment. This chart maps the final jump. At the intermediate level, all three columns, daily ops, community, and bureaucracy, turn green. You can handle a government appointment and attend a neighborhood meeting. Earning those greens means actively unlearning the formal, overly polite phrases from your coursebook and matching the blunt register of the locals. True access to Berlin requires understanding the rhythm and the unvarnished honesty of the street. Vocabulary lists alone will not get you there. The ultimate test of your local integration happens here, at the Späti, the late-night corner shop where the neighborhood gathers. You won't hear textbook greetings. You will hear, na, a one-syllable check-in that demands an equally short response. You will hear words like krass to describe everything from an intense night out to a mild inconvenience. At this counter, nobody cares if you perfectly conjugate your verbs. Success depends entirely on your ability to process rapid audio in a loud, chaotic environment. Pronunciation hurdles like the rounded umlauts and the soft vowel-like R at the end of words immediately signal your proficiency level. Get them wrong, and the owner will instantly switch to English. You don't need a flawless native accent. You just need to hit the specific phonetic markers clearly enough that locals don't have to strain to understand your meaning. Mastering Berlin requires the split-second ability to process slang and dialect in a loud room, a functional fluency that serves you much better than a high score on a grammar test. This scorecard helps you align your exact timeline with the right language strategy. If you are a 6-month digital nomad, your target is survival phrases only. Secure your basic manners, grab your coffee, and enjoy the international bubble. But if you are staying for years, your target outcome is intermediate street German. You have to break the barrier. This is exactly why Street Tongue was built. It is an app designed specifically to skip the useless textbook formalities and train you on the actual street-level fluency you need. Its pronunciation scoring forces you to nail the tricky German sounds, while custom AI scenarios drop you into highly specific local situations, like negotiating with a landlord or decoding the slang at your neighborhood Späti. Download Street Tongue today to start learning the German that Berliners actually use. And down in the comments, tell us about the specific bureaucratic wall or cultural reality check that forced you to adapt when you moved abroad.